Alright, so what we're going to do here is do a speed test of the A20. I do this every time I get a phone. There's nothing scientific about my testing. I'm just doing real world speed test. I did this with so what we have here to play today is the OnePlus 7 Pro, the Samsung A20, the T-Mobile REVVLRY Plus, and the Google 3A Pixel, the Pixel 3a XL. All these are T-Mobile phones. You can get the REVVLRY Plus as a Moto G7 something, or you can buy the Pixel by itself, but I have the T-Mobile variants of both. Same thing with the A20. So one thing to notice, right off the bat, the Pixel 3a XL is the only of these that has always on display, which is weird because Samsungs normally do, or at least the Note does. Yeah, it's not in the settings. So again, if you're in the budget land, these are going to be $250 for this guy, the Samsung. The Moto T-Mobile REVVLRY Plus is going to be $350, I think, and I think the Pixel is around that price as well. The OnePlus 7 Pro is going to be much more expensive, of course, but it's also have a bigger screen, better specs, and the whole shebang, other than the camera, is winning on this guy. But what we're going to do here is speed test. So I am in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm going to test first. So we're not on Wi-Fi here, so we're going to get a LTE speed for the OnePlus 7 Pro for T-Mobile. All these should have band 71. Kentucky does have band 71. Louisville, Kentucky does. I don't know they're on band 71. I'm not going to do any kind of forcing it to connect or checking. I'm just doing what I would do in my normal life of speed tests. So you can see we're getting a really good speed on LTE. All these on this side are going to be Wi-Fi. Now we're in my basement in Louisville, Kentucky. I have a Google Wi-Fi router and the mesh network, and I'm on Spectrum's internet. I should have 420 up and 420 down and 400 down, 20 up. That's what it is. So first, the Pixel on Wi-Fi. And we're in my basement, probably 20 feet from my router, but there's a bunch of shit down here. This is my makeshift office, and I have a bunch of stuff for videos and just equipment in general. So 156 is what we're getting on the Pixel. I ran these tests on the REVVLRY the other day, and I got the worst speeds of everything for the REVVLRY. That was before I had the A20. So again, we're on Wi-Fi, no LTE. Our first LTE test on the OnePlus is 62.6. We'll test that again. So right now, the REVVLRY is getting a better Wi-Fi speed than the Pixel. But they're in range 199 to 156. Nothing major here. Getting a steady 60 to 70 LTE on the OnePlus. Also, this is not a controlled test. I don't have any kind of, this is just me testing it, just some asshole testing shit. My wife's watching Netflix. My son's in his room, probably watching Netflix as well, or YouTube or something. So there's a lot going on in my house to keep me from getting that perfect 400 speed. Now this is the A20, which is what we're focusing on today. Alright, as you can tell, we're on Wi-Fi. There's no LTE. And once again, we'll test LTE on. Not a good test on Wi-Fi for the A20. We'll give him another shot. Again, this is on LTE, not Wi-Fi, so it's not, again, not great speeds. Again, so the better devices, the Note 9 or the OnePlus 7 Pro, are going to have better antennas probably than these budget items here. Alright, so I've got a consistent 60 to 70 download LTE speed test on the OnePlus 7 Pro. I'm going to turn it off now and put my SIM card in the Google Pixel 3a XL. Eventually get into this guy. We're going to test you again. This guy, the A20, definitely has the least amount of RAM of any device. So now this is the Pixel 3a XL, which if you're in your budget category, this is probably your #1 contender because you know you're getting a great camera for that price. It is going to be more expensive than the A20, but for that $100 you're getting a substantially better camera. You're getting stock Android, which some people like. It's not necessarily my favorite. In relation to the A20, the Pixel has more RAM and more storage. So 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage versus 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigabytes of storage. Alright, so let's just shuffle these around just so we can see if the placement makes any difference. Shouldn't. So now the Pixel is on LTE and Wi-Fi is turned off. And we're getting a consistent 50 speed on the A20. So just for comparison's sake, let's test this guy again. So this is the OnePlus 7 Pro. You can see how much larger it is than the A20. So now the Pixel is on LTE. Let's run its test. Now remember, the OnePlus was getting about 70 gigs. So now the T-Mobile REVVLRY is crushing it on Wi-Fi. And now let's just check out the OnePlus 7 Pro on Wi-Fi. Substantially better. Again, you're going to have better antennas in the higher end, or you're going to have that 4x4 MIMO or whatever that stuff is, right? But so you can see LTE speeds on the Google Pixel weren't as good as the LTE speeds on the OnePlus 7 Pro. Alright, so let's run another test. So again, pretty good Wi-Fi speeds on there. So let's just check my settings, make sure they're the same. I'm going to turn that off and we'll see if it makes any difference. Getting even worse on the Samsung phone. Again, this is the A20 budget phone, $250. Can't expect a lot, although it's disappointing to see how much faster this is on Wi-Fi than this guy. So the REVVLRY was disappointing me last week. Let's see how it does on Wi-Fi. Getting a solid upload speed though. Still testing LTE on the Pixel. This will be my last LTE test on the Pixel. So at this point, the REVVLRY is testing pretty solid on Wi-Fi. Obviously, better test on the OnePlus 7 Pro. Alright, so now I'm going to turn the Pixel off. We're going to try LTE on the REVVLRY. Getting a consistent 50 on the Samsung A20. Let me go ahead and just try so you can see it has the Samsung keyboard. Let's try this speed test and see if it makes any difference. And then I'm going to put the SIM card in the REVVLRY. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and test this guy. So the REVVLRY has just a micro SD card and SIM card slot. Consistent speeds, I guess, there. Alright, I just put my SIM into the REVVLRY and then we're going to retest it. So we're getting a real standard 50 megabits on the Samsung A20. So things to consider. It's $100 cheaper, but we're getting better speeds with both these guys. This one you get always on display and obviously the better camera. All three of these budget guys have headphone jacks. The OnePlus 7 Pro does not have a headphone jack. Alright, so now the Pixel is back on Wi-Fi. Let's test this guy again. REVVLRY Plus is now on LTE, no Wi-Fi. So now we're going to test LTE on the REVVLRY Plus. Last week it was not doing great. Alright, so let's go ahead and test. So again, LTE Wi-Fi on the A20 REVVLRY Plus. And this is the Pixel and the OnePlus 7 Pro just hanging out waiting. So this is consistent to what I've shown last week. The REVVLRY Plus is not getting as good a speed as the Pixel, and certainly not as good as the OnePlus 7 Pro on LTE. Wi-Fi is still pretty solid. And there's the always-on play from the Pixel. So this is our first LTE test on the REVVLRY. Let's try it again. So we're getting a consistent speed here. Let's try the Pixel one more time. Pixel's on Wi-Fi, of course. Alright, so that is about right. So let's test Wi-Fi on the OnePlus 7 Pro. We're going to do our third and final test on the REVVLRY. And then we're going to put the SIM card in the Samsung, the A20, which is a fingerprint beast. So the A20 has the same micro SD card and SIM card tray. Again, 20 down on this time. Again, not great showing from the REVVLRY. I've already missed my return window, I think, on the REVVLRY, so I might be stuck with it. But we'll see how the A20 performs. It could be going bye-bye. It might not be worth that cheap price. Alright, so now we're recording LTE finally on the A20. We're going to do Wi-Fi test on the Pixel again, just to see how it goes. Alright, so we're off Wi-Fi here, and we're strictly on LTE. You can see the little tiny meter there. Getting a good speed on the Pixel from Wi-Fi. And let's run our first LTE test on the Samsung A20. And we'll run a Wi-Fi test again on the OnePlus 7 Pro. So again, we're about in the ballpark of the REVVLRY. I haven't done full test, of course, yet, but really, what these tests are really showing me is that if you're in the market for a budget T-Mobile phone, I don't know how much $300 gets in the budget range, or $400 is in the budget range, but the Pixel really should be one of your lead choices, I guess, because it's getting better Wi-Fi and LTE speeds than both the A20 or the REVVLRY. It'll have always-on display, a better camera. It has more storage and RAM than the A20, the same as the REVVLRY, and it has a headphone jack the same as all of them. So, but not bad there, I guess. This is Wi-Fi, of course. So by far, the worst Wi-Fi tester is the A20. Let's do our last LTE test. I guess I'll try the fast test after that, just for shits and giggles. But we're very clearly, I think, seeing that the A20 is not as good as these other devices based on super scientific speed testing. Not bad, though. I mean, you're on par with this guy, but I ran about 40 Wi-Fi tests and only got 50 megs every time, so that's a bit concerning, I would say. Alright, let's try one last one with fast.com. Again, we're on LTE, not Wi-Fi. You can see Wi-Fi is off. And the numbers are looking the same, right? Not bad. Not as good as these guys. So, there you go. But, I mean, it is $250 cheaper than everything else here. So, that's just a little test there. Alright, thanks for checking me out.